Today, I'm going to paint this old land speeder using all the techniques I've learned in the last few months. First to say that the most important thing is to have fun. Fun because we have free time to paint some Ultramarines. Yeah. Okay, to paint the vehicle blue, I will use the same recipe and technique that I used for the Space Marines, and following the original guide from Grain's workshop and adding a little bit of art touch. So after having primed our vehicle, the first thing we must do is give the macrage blue base color with very diluted paint. You know, so not to spoil any detail, and until we get a solid color, so we will have to give about 3 or 4 layers. With the tapping technique, we're going to start by applying the Calgar blue with the dry brush, almost without paint, so I need to tap a lot to begin noticing the color, and those volumes will begin to emerge. Now we repeat the same process with Phoenician Grey, but this time with a smaller brush and taking up less space, trying to only focusing in the highlights. Outlining. Oh, I hate outlining. With a normal brush and the paint directly from the boat, we make the lines of all the edges of the ship. Okay, don't be bothered a lot with the mistakes we make here, because in the next step we're gonna camouflage them a little bit. The result of the process so far is rather a faded vehicle with little interest despite the volumes, so in the next step we're going to use the same technique, but this time with magic blue. This to lift the blue of the land speeder and make it more attractive. The idea is to touch only the areas where we have previously applied Calgar blue and the Phoenician Grey. In the next step, we're going to reinforce the contrast, and for that I'm going to use dark blue ink. In this case I'm using a painting from Grain's workshop that it has already discontinued. I'm very sorry, but I'm sure you can use any dark blue ink, and you can leave me some alternative in the comments. That would be great. This color is Digima blue, and I'm going to apply it only in the most dark areas. The good thing about painting old ships is that you can try new technique without fear of ruining the miniature. So I was encouraged to use oil paints and continue learning this type of paint. The truth is that they mix so good and they make some great gradients. And on top of that, since it makes it so long to dry, we have the opportunity to fix some mistakes. I really love them. So I was encouraged to try to make some light effects, something that I will later regret, because the final result does not achieve the expected effect, but it's not bad to try new things, and Maybe I think it lacks for more white, so the impression of maximum brightness. And I think that effect, it needs more skill, more painting skill I don't have yet. The interior of the passenger compartment is full of buttons and little lights, so here we have fun playing with different colors and making those panels live. It's fun. Before chipping, you have to add the decals, so the effect can affect them, and this will better adapt to our model. I had some Ultramarines decals, but I decided to add some extra ones from World War II tanks, and I think they work, even when they are not Roman numbers like they should. Here I'm going to use a technique that I never used, and this is the chipping, but without the sponge. The idea is first to paint the base with the color you want, in this case silver, and apply several coats of chipping solution. Since I don't have that product, I will use matte varnish. It is important to give several layers, because to achieve the effect we're going to apply some pressure and we're gonna scrape in the painting. So the next thing is to give the final color that we want to come off. In this case, macrage blue. And I'm giving directly from the pot, so this is quite thick and this will help to peel better when scraped. And once painted, you have to wait for the paint to dry, but not too much. Like the point of almost complete drying, but not full dry. It is fun, and I plan to use this technique again, for sure. But for the rest of the ship, I did use the sponge trick, which is loaded with a bit of light blue, and we add those chips through the ship. Depending on the color of the background of the land speeder, in this case is a very used one, so we're gonna chip a lot. I'm applying it in all corners and edges that may have more use. And here it's important to go step by step and very careful, because the paint we use is quite dry, and many times we will not be able to go back, and sometimes yes, with a little water and a brush we can correct our mistakes. I was lucky. I was very lucky. To finish the chipping effect and this to work, we have to add a mixture of dark gray with terracotta with a small brush, trying to add small dots in the random point that the sponge has given us, step by step, without full covering the lighter color. A little bit of pigments doesn't hurt. I add them on the step and in the parts where the dust can be settled. So the land speeder is almost ready. We just need to add the crew and the weapon. And our land speeder is almost ready. We just need to add the crew and the weapon that I painted separately for painting better. This is something that I learned with the tank tracks, not to fix all the details. Just don't do it. For the weapon, I like the old school bolter red, so I'm painted it red and light with a bit orange. the base, I used the usual cork, which I added some details such as construction iron bars with a little bit of wire. And then I applied the AKA concrete effect, which is great. Well, it's great to try all these techniques in all vehicles, so I know what to do and not to do in the new vehicles that I want to add to my army. And I hope you liked the video, and this to push you to paint your own Ultramarine vehicles. And if you like it, please consider subscribe, like it, and share it with your friends. It helps a lot. And thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye!